Good afternoon, everyone. We're just going to give it a couple more minutes before we start our webinar. We've got quite a few people coming on, so I'm going to give it about one more minute and let people log in and we'll get started. So sit tight. All right, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jim Ostrowski and I work in Eagle's Environmental Support Division. And I welcome you to our Fix a Leak Week webinar. The first one that we're doing here is called Connecting the Dots Between Water and Energy Conservation. I'm glad to see so many people are joining us. Right now I got about 138 people logged in and we'll get many more. We had over 400 registered for this event. So we should have many more people jump on as we get started. I'm just going to go over a couple housekeeping guidelines before I turn it over to Nina. First of all the lines are muted. We'll have an opportunity to ask questions and mute the lines later on, but for right now, they're all muted. We are recording this webinar, so if you want to watch it again, we'll be sharing it on YouTube in a few days. So by Friday, we should have it posted on that channel, and we'll send a link to everyone who registered, a link to the recording. As we go through our day today or our session this afternoon, if you have a question, you can type it into the question box, the Q&A box that you see on your Zoom toolbar. You can also click the raise hand icon and that'll let us know that you have a question and we will unmute your microphone so you can ask your question if you'd like to do it that way. Looks like we have a couple people on the phone, or we did have somebody on the phone, maybe not anymore, but if you are on the phone and you have a question, you can type #2 on your phone, #2, and that'll raise your hand on our end and we'll be able to unmute your line. So with that, I'm going to introduce Nina Sassy. Nina, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Good afternoon. I'm Nina Sassy, and I head the Office of the Clean Water Public Advocate. I'm excited that this is our first webinar of Fix a Leak Week. Two common themes that you'll see during this week is really how are we connecting the work between water and energy conservation efforts, and also how are we supporting this work in disadvantaged communities. So this first presentation, I am happy that Consumers Energy, DTE, and United Efficiency is able to join us, talk about the great work that they're doing in community. And I hope that you guys have some questions for them and we really get this discussion going. So I'm going to give you some intros of our speakers and then we'll kick it off. So first, I would like to introduce you to Yvonne Lewis, who is a Senior Project Manager at Consumers Energy. Next, we'll have David Becker, who is a Marketing Program Manager with DTE Energy, followed by Patrick Leahy, who is a Program Manager at Energy Efficiency, or Efficiency United. So again, we're gonna get it started with Yvonne. We'll welcome you if you'd like to mute yourself and cut your camera on. We'd love to hear from you.
Hi, welcome. This is a great opportunity. I'm really excited that Nina asked me to participate this week, Fix the Leaks. So Consumers Energy is working with community advocates. I'm just going to use an example of the one that we're starting with because this is really exciting and a win-win. We have our own water savers, right, to save the gas or electricity to heat the water, but we never connected this dot to water too. And so Kalamazoo Water Department came to us and said, we need to connect the dots. And so we have set up our program to match our program. So our program, what does Consumers Energy do to save water? We go into home at no charge and we do energy assessments. And part of that assessment is installing water saving measures, heads, bath and kitchen aerators. And the Kalamazoo Water Department thought, well, that's a great idea. We want that. And that's when we raised our hand and said, can we collaborate and do this together? Water Department wants to save water. We want to save energy. And so we have collaborated, and we are Consumers Energy and doing our assessments for energy, but we're also connecting that dot and providing to the customer the leak tabs. So the little dials to drop into the toilets to see if there's going to be leaks, and the toilet flapper for them, the homeowner, to make. And this is a great way of making sure that while we're in there, we're in those water saving measures, and then we're checking, or the customer then will check for the leak. And hoping that once this works with Kalamazoo, which I'm sure it will, we've done our press releases this past week, and we already have 70 people signed up from that area from those press releases to really do about, I know my girl, Teresa's on the call here, and I think we have about 30,000 customers that we're trying to coordinate with to do this work. And we're really to be able to do this, this connection. And then from here is to take this show on the road, and within Consumers Energy areas where we are paying to heat, or we're not paying, you're paying to heat the water, gas or electricity, that we would be able to connect these dots and help with these water leaks in the homes. To conserve the water by providing the low flow shower heads and the bath and kitchen aerator. And know that this is a free program to all Consumers Energy customers, not just Kalamazoo. We're doing the collaboration part with Kalamazoo, where we're able to provide the information and die tabs and from their program. So I know that was a fast rendition, but we do have the program for all Consumers Energy customers, and then this Fix a Leak is just with Kalamazoo.
Thanks for that, Yvonne. And we'd love to hear more. I know you're just rolling this effort out in Kalamazoo, but it sounds like a great opportunity for us to learn some lessons of what worked in that community and what we can do as far as that roadmap for the entire state. So thanks for sharing that.
Thank you. We're looking forward to taking the show on the road.
Great, great. And I know there'll be some opportunities to partner. And so we'll talk a little bit more about that towards the end of the webinar. I know there's quite a few folks on this line that may want to participate in this partnership. So excited to hear from them. So next we have David Becker. If you'd like to present and share your story.
Sure. And am I able to share slides? I put together a deck for this event. Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, cool.
Yep, go ahead, just hit share screen and.
Okay. I'm doing that. Okay, great. Well, great. Well, thanks. Yeah, thanks for the opportunity to be here today to speak to everyone about this this important issue about the water and energy nexus. My name is David Becker, the marketing program manager at DTE. I specifically manage our low-income single-family work, our income-qualified work, where we provide products and services to customers free of charge. And I will definitely be touching on that program, but I'm also going to provide an overview of all the programs at DTE and our energy waste reduction department that touch on this water energy nexus and the work that we're doing for water conservation, as well as on the energy conservation side. So quick overview of DTE for those that aren't familiar with us. We are headquartered in Detroit, Michigan, approximately 10,000 employees. Gas and electric, combo territory, as well as some overlapping territories. We do a lot of partnerships and coordination with Consumers Energy, and I work specifically with Yvonne, servicing our income qualified customers on our programs where we do overlap and trying to tighten that coordination, which has been really fun to better engage on that side of things. We do have non-utility businesses as well at DTE in over 20 states. Those are highlighted below. So, the water energy, I say the cost savings nexus, right? Because you kind of have all three there. For me, I really got into this in my work before joining DTE at Elevate Energy, nonprofit organization based in Chicago. And that was really the first time that I was exposed to this opportunity of kind of killing two birds with one stone, right? I mean, as far as reducing water usage, helping to reduce those the energy as well as cost for the customer. So this graphic here is from our home energy consultation program, which I'm going to touch on. And this gets at the different natural gas savings, electric savings, and the water savings based on the different measures provided on the left, and then kind of what those cost savings can look like. So home energy consultation program is available throughout DT territory, single family, duplex DT customers only. Basically, we go out, perform a basic walk through the home, and then that customer then receives some direct install products. So while they're there doing the consultation, they'll go around and do the installation of these measures. I actually had it done at my house about 3 years ago. Really fast, really easy, and among those measures, there's different water saving measures there. The water saving shower head, bath, kitchen aerators is primarily what we're going to talk about today. But the customer does receive other products as well, and also a report that provides other opportunities of where they could possibly save more energy and money with DTE. So for the purposes of today's webinar, I was just looking at the 2020 metrics and compiling the data so we can look at where are we saving the most water, where are we saving the most energy with these different measures. So in this program last year, you can look at the left as far as what we installed. So a lot more on the gas side, not surprising at all when you're talking about water. Most of our territory, that water is heated with gas. And so it's broken out between both fuel types. But roughly, 7,500, almost 8,000 aerators installed in both the kitchens and the bathrooms of the homes that we went out and visited. And you can see the amount of gallons saved of water on the right side there, and then obviously the associated energy savings. And I will say within energy waste reduction, we primarily have our two goals, right? We have our spend goal of what we need to spend each year, and then we have our energy savings goal. There's not a water savings goal at this point in time. So we're primarily focused on the energy savings goal, but you can see obviously that there's pretty drastic amount of water being saved as well. And that helps the customer, not just on the energy use, but also on their water bill as well, if they're a metered customer. Low-income multifamily program. So this program is available to multifamily property owners who work directly with the property managers of these buildings. And these are income qualified buildings. And again, there's a direct install component to this work, which is primarily where we're installing those water saving measures. There can also be prescriptive measures. So anything from boiler controls to larger measures as far as weatherization of the building. And for this one, there's a much more substantial rebate for the property owner. So an income qualified rebate of $1,500 versus a market rate of $150, for example, for a gas furnace. So it's not 100% of the cost, but they are very deep savings on the rebate side. So if you're looking at this program, and this one we also do shower heads. So again, breaking it out year 2020, and again by gas and electric. You can see that with this program, we're able to reach a pretty good number of units and do some replacement on the water side. So we have the two different shower heads, and then there's actually a handheld shower head, so a little bit different, little nuance there, but the same amount of gallons saved between the two shower heads. And then you can just obviously see the massive amount of water savings on the right, and then again the associated energy savings. Breaking out between CCF and megawatt hour. This is kWh, actually megawatt hours on the energy saving as well. Our energy schools program. So we have a schools program where we provide, we go into the schools, typically go into the schools, COVID has impacted that, but typically we're into the schools, we do a nice interactive presentation and provide these kits to 4th to 12th graders throughout the state of Michigan. This program has been really effective. It helps drive the conversation at home. It has had a really big impact on the customers, just trying to get them involved, get the kids involved, starting them out young. and interested in energy efficiency and how it can impact their home's bill. And so again, within the kit, there's multiple items, but included in those are the aerators and a shower head plus a shower timer, and to try to help encourage obviously energy reduction. And then we do on this program, we coordinate a lot with other utilities. You see the ones listed here: Consumers, Efficiency United, UPCO, and SEMCO. And we usually reach about 36,000 families annually. So it's got a pretty big reach for us on an annual basis, and pretty big success rate as far as getting these products installed. So once again, if you look at the number of units, so last year we were out to, again, roughly 36,000, or we were able to reach 36,000 customers, and every household received one of those kitchen aerators as well as 2 bathroom aerators. I will mention though, this would be your maximum savings. So we know that not every aerator is installed when they receive these kits and they go home and do that installation. For us, that all comes out in our evaluation. We have our installation rate adjustment factor, our IRAF value, which would impact some of these numbers here. But this is to give you an idea of kind of the maximum potential for the school kits program and the impact it can have on a customer as far as water savings, and then again the associated energy savings with that program. Home energy efficiency kits. This one's super easy. Customers can go online and request a kit, and as long as the kits are available, we mail them out to them. And it's a nice kit. It's got your LED light bulbs, it's got night lights, pipe wraps, faucet aerators, shower head, and smart power strips. And again, this is all free of charge to the customers, just trying to drive energy and water efficiency to the different customers. Again, this would be a maximum number of units of products installed, as well as the associated water and energy savings. Last year, we sent out just over 29,000 kits, which is pretty awesome. And the kits were extremely popular last year, especially with COVID and customers trying to figure out what can we do to try to reduce energy usage, try to save money, try to save costs wherever they can. And so again, you have the associated water and energy savings. You get a little more in that kitchen aerator than a bathroom aerator because it's in use obviously more frequently. So greater savings on those kitchen aerators. And then lastly is our Energy Efficiency Assistance Program. This is the program that I directly manage. And again, this is an income qualified program, 200% FPL, 80% AMI, annual participation of about 5,000 customers. It's available to both homeowners and renters with landlord approval. The program is implemented by SEAL and ICF. And then we deliver the program through 40 different nonprofit community action agencies, government agencies, your Habitat for Humanity, your Global Detroit, United Community Housing Coalition, lots of different partners here, Thaw, and they go out in the community and they find customers for us. And we go out and we provide these high efficiency products, services, home weatherization products at no cost to the customer. So it's a great opportunity for a customer, especially we do a lot of emergency no heat customers, which has actually been very busy this year coming out of COVID. Same thing on no working refrigerator, no working water heater. We'll go out and assist these customers. We also have a health and safety pilot this year, which is new, but allows us to address roofing, electrical, asbestos, some of these other issues that would typically lead to a walkaway with this program. We're able to go in and provide those health and safety measures to the customer. And then on top of that, the energy efficiency services. And this is where there's an opportunity to do some partnering and some collaboration. So 2020, so the thing I realized actually doing the research for this is that we don't do a lot of direct install on the water conservation. And this is an opportunity, I think, for us to improve as we go forward with this program. We are looking to make some changes to the program in general as we move forward. That would allow us some greater control over these direct install measures, because I think there's a lot more opportunity out there for us to have an impact on the water side with this program than we're currently seeing. So again, out of the roughly 5,000 customers, you have 150 or so that received the shower heads, 150 aerators, 150 kitchen aerators. So I'd like to see that percentage increase. You know, this is something that certainly opened my eyes to that, trying to find those opportunities to have a bigger impact for the customer. But the collaboration opportunity that I referred to with the Fix a Leak pilot, you know, opportunity to provide free Energy Star water heaters, these income qualified customers, we can provide them through the EA program. So we're out there trying to identify the leaks and different opportunities there. There are customers that we could support on the water heater side. And so I wanted to highlight the water heaters that we installed in 2020 and 2019. Last year, 860 total water heaters, and then 2019, 628 total water heaters installed. So we do a pretty big number of water heaters. And you can see some of these, tankless. Yeah, we are doing some tankless, and then we also have an opportunity to do some heat pump water heaters as well, as that technology becomes more available for customers, more cost effective. So excited for this opportunity. We're always looking for ways to collaborate to just have the maximum impact, especially for the income qualified customers, because, you know, ultimately that's what it's all about. You know, when we receive emails from customers in need, being able to go out there and provide these services is can have such an impact on someone's life. And, you know, think about the amount of comfort and health and overall happiness you can provide a customer. It's pretty awesome. So I feel fortunate to be able to have these programs to assist our customers in DT territory, and being able to collaborate with consumers and other utilities makes it even better. So that's my last one. Yeah, happy to answer any questions once we're all through here.
Thanks, David. That was very informative. I really enjoyed the part about the Think Energy School that you guys are doing with high school students.
Yeah.
If you have a website that we can share with folks, I'm sure other people will be interested in that as well.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I can provide more details.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, thank you.
And thanks again for your partnership with the Water Leak pilot. Anita just added that link. So we have about 200 homes, 100 in Highland Park and 100 in Benton Harbor. And thanks to our partnership here with DTE, we were able to add to that water pilot and provide folks with energy efficient water heaters. So again, thank you for that.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thanks. All right, Patrick Leahy, last but not least.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Patrick Leahy with Efficiency United. So I am just going to, I threw some slides together as well. So let me pull that up. All right, should be able to see that now. So Efficiency United, for those of you who aren't aware, again, we're a utility energy waste reduction program made up of 13 electric utilities and 3 natural gas utilities with a pretty wide footprint across the state. So on our next slide here, you can see that the red shaded area, very large presence, a lot of it in the UP. But we work with the Alpena Power Company, the Bayfield Electric Cooperative, the City of Crystal Falls, the City of Dowagiac, the City of Gladstone, the City of Harbor Springs, the City of Negaunee, the City of Norway, the Hillsdale Board of Public Utilities, Michigan Gas Utilities, the Village of Baraga, the Village of Lance, Upper Michigan Energy Resources, both electric and gas service territory, and Xcel Energy, both electric and gas territory. So very spread out across the state with a large footprint in the UP. So a number of different programs, both residential, commercial, and industrial programs. A lot of the stuff is redundant from what David and Yvonne shared. A lot of different programs that we offer that are very similar. So want to highlight some specific sort of energy conservation and water conservation things. This I thought was pretty impressive off the EPA website that retrofitting 1 out of 100 homes with efficient water fixtures would save over 100 million kilowatt hours of electricity and avoid over 80,000 tons of greenhouse gases being added to the atmosphere. So, definitely a correlation between the efficient water measures and the energy savings devices that are installed. So some things that Efficiency United offers, we have an online store through our website, through efficiencyunited.com. Customers of Efficiency United utilities can purchase low flow aerators, shower heads, as well as LED light fixtures and things of that nature. Again, like David mentioned, we offer home energy assessment like DTE and consumers, where you can receive a walkthrough from a certified energy professional who will also install some of these devices for you to help save both water and energy. And then we also offer rebates on high efficiency appliances, washing machines, dishwashers. A couple points here on the savings seen from some of these different appliances that we will support with rebates and things like that to help save both water and energy. And then a big one is water heating. As you know, the water heaters, next to the heating system are probably the biggest energy consumers in the home. We offer rebates on different Energy Star rated water heaters, tankless water heaters, high efficiency water heaters, both gas and electric, and then hybrid heat pump water heaters, as well as solar water heaters. And then, like David mentioned, Efficiency United also offers a income qualified energy efficiency assistance program aimed at low income customers. And through that initiative over the last 5 years, Efficiency United has replaced over 300 water heaters with Energy Star rated models throughout the service territory. So definitely a lot of correlation between energy savings with water usage. And so with that, wanted to have a safety moment. This on the left here is actually a home that I was in a couple of years ago that shows the vent pipe on the water heater had actually come apart and was actually fallen into the wall there behind it and was melting the wall. The exhaust gases that come out of water heaters, gas water heaters, are very hot, that they should be vented properly, you need to make sure that that's something that you don't see. Also issues with backdrafting. You want to make sure that, gas appliances are all vented properly. And that, there's high levels of carbon monoxide, when you burn natural gas to heat your water. This is something that a lot of people really aren't aware of, and that there's a number of different causes that can cause, these issues from, improper venting, poor pitch, different things that, cause blockages, or just a totally disconnected vent. So with that, here's my contact information. And then again, happy to answer any questions about Efficiency United programs, as well as talk about anything that we're doing in terms of both water and energy efficiency.
Thanks for that, Patrick. That was definitely very helpful. And thanks for your partnership too with the water leak pilot in Benton Harbor. So I think we have some questions from our audience. Jim, do we have any?
Yeah, Nina, we have a few questions, and I want to remind people about how to ask questions. So if you have a question today, oops, there's my slide. Okay. Yeah, if you have a question, you can type it in the question box. You can raise your hand, or you can, if you're on the phone, you got a couple of people calling in, you can hit #2. That'll raise your hand, and it'll allow us to unmute you. So you can go ahead and do that. I'm going to look at my questions box here, and if we can have our panelists all turn their cameras on, we can have kind of a panel discussion here. First question, I think this one actually goes to David. This came when you're talking. Can you indicate the water flow rate of the shower heads and aerators being installed, and what the flow rate of the ones typically found at the inspected homes was?
Yes. Let's see, bathroom faucet aerators are 1 gallon per minute. Kitchen faucet aerators, 1.5 gallons per minute, as well as the shower heads. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, David.
Yeah.
I got a person with their hand up, TC. So TC, I just unmuted your line. You can go ahead and ask your question. TC, if you're there, you should be able to unmute your microphone, and there you go.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon, and thank you, everyone. My question is that I want to install an outdoor well, but I want to be energy efficient. Is there a type of grants that's available to help offset the cost for making a outdoor well energy efficient for irrigation? And thank you.
Thanks. Who wants to take that question?
Answer for consumer at this time, we don't have any rebates on well pumps.
Yeah, that would be the same at DTE. Thinking through any other resource options for you, but I'm not aware of any at this time.
Yeah, I would definitely encourage you to check with your utility provider and see potentially on the commercial side, if you mentioned agriculture, there could potentially, depending on the size of the pump, larger pumps with higher horsepower, there could be some incentives available through a commercial program, but would definitely recommend that you reach out to whoever your electric provider is and see.
All right, thanks guys. A question that came in here. This person received an energy kit from their 4th grader. The bathroom aerator only has threads on the inside, but the aerators in their house have threads on the outside. Are you able to offer one of each in the future, or is there something missing about the aerators I received? I think that was David when you were talking, that one came in.
Yeah, it's a good question. I can check into that. I guess I'm assuming that whatever is on there, I mean, every kitchen faucet is different, or bathroom faucet. Sometimes they don't always fit. I will say just making sure that there's not already an aerator on. I know sometimes that's happened with customers where they can't figure out how to get the one on there, but there's actually an aerator they have to take off to put the other one on. But yeah, I'm happy to take down information and try to get something back out to you though.
Yeah, so thanks for that question. And if you look in your chat, the Zoom chat, Anita dropped in all the contact information for our speakers today. So feel free to reach out to any of them directly through the email, right?
Perfect, thanks, Jim.
Yeah, this one comes in, I guess, for anybody. What about churches and community centers? What options are available for them? Yvonne?
So Energy has a house of program, and it's twofold. It would work on our commercial and business side where the church could have the energy. And I'm not positive about the rebates, but I know that there are some. And then we coordinate with the commissioners of the House of Worship to sign up for energy efficient in-home assessments. And if the church gets X amount, there's a incentive paid to the church for a certain amount of people. I'm not going to pretend to know all the numbers on that, but you could get some information from us on the House of Worship. Commercial and industry side, along with the single family side.
Yeah, and this is David at DTE. We also offer programs to churches as well. It's run out of the commercial side of our EWR house, and to be honest, I personally don't have the details to provide to you, but if you wanted to reach out to me over email, I can connect you with the right person.
Yeah, I would echo that as well, that churches and other nonprofits would fall under our commercial programs, not our residential programs. So certainly send me an email if you have an Efficiency United utility, and I can connect you with the person who you'd want to talk to.
All right, thanks. This next question is kind of a broader question. I don't know, it might be something that Nina, you want to address first, then somebody else might want to. That's, to what extent are energy savings realized at a single water efficient home versus the cumulative benefits of the community? Is the average water user able to see the difference in their water bill and energy bill after installing the new aerators and shower heads? Or is it something we really see more at the community level? I don't know.
So I'd like to tackle that in actually 2 parts. So I mentioned we had the water leak pilot where we're going to be actually attempting to quantify energy and water conservation or savings. There are some plumbing repairs where you'll see an immediate impact on your water bill. For instance, if you have a leaking toilet or you have an odor toilet, and just because of the amount of water that it uses to function, you would see that. When we think about energy savings as they relate to making these repairs within your home that are associated with water, they are sometimes very small, and it is more about the community and how collectively that's impactful on the community. Not saying that you may not see some savings here or there, because it really is dependent on how your conservation effort, what you were doing beforehand. But I would say in terms of like what we're doing with the water leak pilot and looking at actually repairing toilets, replacing toilets, those leaky faucets, those are things that you would see immediately within your next billing cycle, because they are, you're wasting so much water just with the toilets, as I mentioned before. I'd love to hear from Consumers, DTE, and United Efficiency if they'd like to add to that. But just from our perspective, I wanted to state that.
I would echo what you are saying, Nina. Again, it depends on the number of people in the household, the number of faucets used, showers used, etc. That would show. So as David indicated, on the kitchen and bath aerators, standard when you purchase them, it's 2 gallons that comes out per minute. And when you switch to this aerator, it would be 1 gallon. So, you know, who leaves the water running? So now you're wasting, or you both in the kitchen and the bath, and then in the shower. I'm not sure if we're at 1 per minute on the shower yet. We might be at 1.5 gallons. And typically when you purchase a shower, I think it's 7.5 gallons per minute. So that's where the savings would come in, depending on, you know, the people in your home and if you would really see a difference.
Gotta unmute myself. I'm gonna keep it moving here.
I did want to add to that too. You know, we've been talking about the impact within the home, but there's a lot of energy needed to just get water to your home. So through the water treatment process, the distribution system, to get it into your home. So as you think about all of those places where we can make sure that we are conserving energy, we're conserving water, it is impactful overall. It helps with water affordability in that way. So again, we've talked about residential impacts, but collectively, and that's what we'll be focused on this week, is looking at all of those different ways that we can conserve water and energy, so that ultimately you save both water and energy on your personal usage. So I hope that makes sense. But yeah, so again, right now we're focusing on residential consumption, but collectively there will be an impact once all of these strategies are implemented. Another thing I wanted to talk about too was just aerators. We talked about, you know, low flow aerators, and just from a water quality perspective, I just want to make sure that what we would like to say is that we want to keep water flowing, especially if you are in an area where you have a water quality issue. So if you're in a lead action level exceedance community where you are known to have lead in your water, you have a lead service line, we're working with our partners here just to make sure that there's some guidance that we're going to be leaving behind. So even as we have these energy efficiency measures and water conservation efforts in mind, they have that water quality lens and focus. So just, that's something I want to stick with us all. As we do this work, we have to make sure that water quality is at the forefront. And sometimes when water is stagnant, again, you're not able to flush out those contaminants. And so I just want to be clear, if there's any person that's in a lead action level exceedance community, that feel free to reach out to me. We can provide some guidance. It just may mean that you need to flush your line a little bit longer if you have this low flow aerator installed.
All right, thanks, Nina. Got several more questions coming in here. This one might be for Patrick, maybe not. It says, in regard to the Think School program, is there a program in the UP, particularly in the counties in the Western UP?
That would be for me, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, since I talked about the school program.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, you're good. I don't believe there's anything available in the UP. Again, I don't directly manage that program, but I can ask. I'm almost 95% positive that we do not offer it the UP, but I will check on that.
Hey, I will jump in and say that the Think Energy program is offered in the UP and in parts of the Western UP, and that's yeah, part of that collaboration effort between DTE and Efficiency
You hear what I
United.
said? Yeah, I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm talking about. Thanks, Patrick.
No problem. No problem. So
I guess it was for you.
yeah, it's okay.
Right after all. All right, guys. Next question. Does Consumers Energy still have a rebate and disposal program for old appliances that are not Energy Star?
We have a refrigerator rebate program to recycle your refrigerator. Has to be a working unit, and our rebate right now is $50. We will pick it up from you, and you can go online to consumersenergy.com and then go to appliance, and you can schedule right online.
All right, thanks. And I don't know if you want to tackle this one, but how are energy efficiency initiatives affecting water and energy utility rates? Is that something that's correlated, or I don't know if that's something you or you want to pass along?
Can you repeat that, Jim? I want to make sure I understood that.
The question is, how are energy efficiency initiatives affecting water and energy utility rates? Meaning, through greater efficiency, do rates change?
Right. So if you think about the cost that it takes to get water to your home, that may be a way to think about it. I talked about the treatment process. There's pumps involved in that. So if you have energy savings there, ideally you would have more affordable water. You'd be able to have more competitive rate when it comes to what you're charging your customers to actually produce the water and deliver it to them. The same is with the distribution system. As you think about, if you're not losing water, if you don't have that non-revenue water loss within your distribution system, then again, you're getting the water more efficiently to the customer. And so you don't have to account for that loss and add on additional fees to the customer for that. So again, these are investments that overall impact the resident. And that's what I was to say earlier, is really, it's about how all these things add up together within the treatment facility itself, making sure that there's energy efficient measures there, and then also just that delivery system and getting it there. There's going to be some work that's done at looking at lead service lines. You know, these are old distribution lines, and we know that they have to get out the ground because of the contamination associated with lead and water. But it's also an energy waster because most of them have leaks, and you know, it's really a waste of energy to pump the water through because most of the water isn't ending up in the home. So there's going to be a study that the Eagle Division of Energy is doing with an outside contractor. And I think that we'll have some interesting information to share later this fall. But it really supports what we're saying here. And it's about making all of those measures within the system that ultimately impact the resident or the customer at the end.
Yeah, thanks. And just to add on, I like this next question, Nina, and it might be for you as well. It says energy and water saving numbers are direct to the resident. So what we've been talking about is the savings at the residential level. Have calculations been done to include savings at the water treatment plant? You know, treatment and plumbing, as well as the wastewater treatment plants. On the energy front, is there a gallons per, is there any numbers that we have, or are we going to be studying that?
So that's what study that I mentioned, where we're going to have some data that we'll be able to share about that. Right now, I think that may have been done on a national level, but not here in Michigan, but we'll have that Michigan specific data hopefully this fall so that we can share that.
All right, good. Do you all partner with nonprofit organizations to help teach the community? If anybody wants to chime in on that one.
Consumers Energy, many bits, and I know DTE does also. We're not teaching the community about water safe. We are about the energy efficiency side of saving water. So our program go all towards the energy waste reduction versus the water saving measures. we're kind of flipping that. Consumers Energy is, we're really not flipping it. We're adding in the water saving, because once we do this Kalamazoo collaboration, I think we're going to be able to have a lot of data to use as we then add other communities and educate what we're able to do. And when this one is over with, so it'll be interesting to see, and then can use as an educational tool.
Anybody else wants to chime in on partnerships with organizations in the community?
I would. This is David. Oh, go ahead, Patrick.
I was just going to say that I'd echo what Yvonne said. We work with nonprofits to advance energy efficiency initiatives. Again, it's more on the energy waste reduction side than on the water saving side. But as we all discussed, that some of those things go hand in hand. So.
Yeah, I'm a ditto on that one as well. I'd mentioned with the Energy Efficiency Assistance Program, we do partner directly with 40 different nonprofit community action agencies to deliver that program. There's an educational component to that program, but it is focused on energy savings and not as much on the water side of things.
All right. I got a hand up. Looks like TC's got a question again. So TC, you can unmute your line and go ahead and ask your question again.
Yes, and thank you again. I was the one that asked the question about the nonprofits partnering up, because we're teaching the community, specifically children, about water conservation, about washing their hands, turning off the dishwasher, and not using extra water as needed. So that's why I was wondering, is there a way that us as a nonprofit work out with you guys to help put this information out there, so that way we can be a team player for all three organizations?
Thanks. Good question.
Yeah, agreed. I'd be very interested in talking with you, where Consumers Energy is.
Yeah, and so TC, I mean, you got all their emails right there in the chat. So feel free to reach out to them, or I can provide your email. I think we have it here, to the team as well. Create that connection for you. Okay.
I know DTE and Energy both have the Think Energy program that David talked about. So all fourth graders get that education and get the water saving measure.
Mm-hmm. All right. Here's another one. The president is talking about putting money into new infrastructures, including water sewage treatment systems for cities. Will Eagle inform local governments of the new grant money when that comes available, since most systems still have 1960s technology?
Yes, definitely. You're probably aware that before that, in October, the governor released a $500 million investment in water infrastructure. And now that we have additional support coming from the feds, we'll definitely make sure that partners are aware of how to apply and how to get those funds. We agree the support is needed in communities. So we'll have that information out as soon as we can.
Yeah, I'm going to ask if Anita will put in the My Clean Water Plan website into the chat as well. So that talks about a lot of the grant opportunities available for infrastructure. So I should put that up there in a minute. Okay, looking through my questions here. A question for DTE. What are the units of annual savings? For example, $35.80 equals $35.80 a year.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, go ahead.
Well, the savings I provided in the deck, we're just looking at the energy savings and the gallons saved. So it was not looking at cost savings. It was looking at the CCF and megawatt hour savings.
Okay, and that was at a yearly level, or?
That is at. That is a good question. I would have to confirm if that's lifetime or if that's annual.
Okay, I think that's what they're asking for, was the actual units on there.
Yep, understood.
Okay. Okay, I think we've gotten through most of the questions here. So I'm looking out to see if anybody else has got any more questions. If anybody else has got their hand raised, I don't see any there. Nina, is there anything else that you wanted to address? Do you have anything else that you see?
Sure. So I mentioned earlier, there's two themes of the week. We're talking about how to really join our water and energy conservation efforts, and then also how do we support this in disadvantaged communities. Both, all of our partners here have talked about their efforts in disadvantaged communities. We're going to expand upon that. We have Thursday's webinar where we'll hear from Wayne Metro about their efforts in the Detroit area for water conservation. I really hope you guys will tune in for that. Anita just added the link so that you can register for that webinar. I think it'll be a great opportunity to really build on the discussion we're having here about how can we support these efforts, talk about the policy and funding needed for this, and some of the lessons learned that Wayne Metro has. So if you haven't registered for that webinar, please sign up for it. Also, make sure that you take a look at michigan.gov/Fix-A-Leak-Week. We'll have a lot of information about next steps. This discussion and conversation will go beyond this week. We're really going to be looking at what can we do to support these efforts, what policy is needed, how can we come together to make sure that we have a greater impact in community. And so you can follow that discussion by going on that website and also signing up for our listserv. You can email eagle/cleanwater@michigan.gov, and that should be in the chat pretty soon as well. So thank you for joining us. I appreciate Yvonne, David, and Patrick for taking time out to talk about their respective work and efforts. And thank you all for listening in.
Thanks, everybody. Just to wrap it up too, Nina, want to let everybody know that we did record this webinar. We'll be posting a link on our YouTube channel. Everyone who registered will get a link to the recording. So if somebody didn't jump on, they want to get it, we'll be sending that to them. Also, we'll send a follow-up email with some of the contact information from today and some of the links we shared to everyone who attended. With that, and again, I'll check in the chat really quick. You can see a lot of links are already there that I need to post it up there. So we've got a lot of good information in there already. Thanks everyone for joining us today, and have a great rest of your day. Thank you.